you know, I believe you changed your mind at that point. So who did you talk to about when you were changing your mind about giving the tape to get?
No, I didn't change my mind straight away.
Yeah, but when you did change your, after getting, you were kind of getting pressurised that this would be a little way to release the tape.
The first meeting to the second meeting was over a week.
Yeah.
From the 20th to the round of the 3rd, 4th. But the second time I went down with my wife. But in the meantime, in between that time, I decided to look into other angles where I might be able to get a bit more pressure on the council to maybe help, i.e. the route of getting special measures in or putting a bit of pressure on them to say, listen, sort it out. So I decided to find a mobile number for a guy called Phil Saxton, who's opposition to whoever I thought was at the head at the time, at Martin, which was, I was told this was an issue that if I got rid of, it would help me get paid from the people paid who can. So I had quite a few calls with Phil Saxton at the time, messages about what's the right thing to do. So he decided to meet up with me with a friend when I went down the second time with me missus.
Yeah.
At this point, I still hadn't given the tape. So Phil come in.
And was it just Phil that you had?
No, he come in with a guy called Brian, but he made it quite clear. He said, I don't know Brian, I think McGinley or something like that. But I'm not sure whether he sort of said, I don't want anyone knowing he spoke to you really, Dave. I think he mentioned that he might have lost his job in the past or not. I think now I now know that I think he's running for something or he's still involved in some way. So again, another lie. But so yeah, we had a good chat with them, and me and my missus, when we come down the second time, explained about the tape, explained the situation, and they again were looking at each other saying, oh, this is how we should handle it. Go and say this, go and say that, and go back in. So he advised us a little bit about how to handle like without being angry but again, he was still aiming without that tape going in there. Yeah. It might be the best option. You've got to give that tape in. Yeah. So even they start to sing, give the tape in, and I said, well, this is the only thing I've got. I want to keep it until I get them paid. Yeah. So luckily I have my wife, who's a bit of a calming influence. So we decided to go into the meeting. And we decided to stay over in the Premier Inn this time because I said, look, I can't go. If something happens and I don't get what I want, I'm going to have to stay. So we booked in. So we were going to stay over for a day.
The first meeting that you had with Phil Saxton and Brian McGinley, where did you meet them?
Met them in the car, in a local hotel reception. Had a coffee for probably a good hour and a half there. And then as they spoke to me, they said, are you Dave O'Neill? I said, yeah. And there he is standing next to me and my missus. He said, oh, you're not allowed in here. Yeah, we're not allowed to let you in. I said, what? I said, I was with him last week. I said, he said he saw my stuff out. He said, no, he don't want to see you today. He said I think he was waiting for the tape to go, unless he got what he wanted. He was putting his foot down or something. So at this point, I just thought, right, I wanted to cause a bit of trouble. Maria said, Phil had said, leave it for a bit. Don't cause trouble in there because you're getting away. He says, it just come out. So at that point, we went out and Phil said, I phoned Phil and said, listen, Phil, this guy's not wanting to see me here. And at that point I said, listen, I'm just going to do it my own way. I'm just going to go to a proper newspaper and blah, 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 and get it out there. And because if I'm not getting on, he's not getting it. I'm going to get him done. And it's not my nature to do that, but I was backed into a corner. So at what point Phil said, listen, Dave, I'll phone Mike up and I'll sort it for you now. So he comes back on the phone. I've had a chat with Mike, go back to the council buildings, they'll see you now. He's with the deputy or someone else. After that point, you mentioned the MP, Alan Gemmel. So after they'd handed the tape, I'm obviously thinking, right, well, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next to you? Can't you even make part payment for the methodology, asbestos or anything like that? As soon as Mike got the tape, he done what he done a year and a half ago, blocked me. Which, I'm like, looking at me, missus going, this is like, you couldn't even write it. And that's when I'm engaging with Phil Saxton, saying, Phil, what's going on? And he's saying, Dave, you've just got to understand, there's a lot going on, there's council meetings, and he can't just answer to you all the time. I said, no, if he can't answer to me, Phil, he doesn't have to block me. I know when someone's blocked me. He could just message back saying, this is going on or that's going on, David. If he says it take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I would have left it. But he just didn't want to engage with me again, which straight away made me feel, right, I'm going to have to go my own way anyway and put the story out myself. So that's when Phil said he got someone with the papers and he'd get Alan Gemmel to get in touch with me. And they were, what now looks and appears to, they were softening the blow and trying to help me, or it appears that they were doing it, but it just looks, when I look back now, as they were just pushing you to the one side again.
They were saying to you that they would help you facilitate how to work best to get your money that you were owed.
Yeah.
And then the best answer was to go through the papers to, you know.
Well, again, they were all going back to what Mike said. And Phil was saying, listen, we've had a chat with Mike and the best option would be, if you put anything in, they're probably right, Martin's going to oppose everything. Yeah. Now, I don't know still at this point, politically, what kind of role a head of the council is to a CEO. I've never really got involved in that. So I'm still going off what Mike, for my own freaking stupidity, still believing what Mike and that are saying. Like that he couldn't give contacts out. He's saying it was all on Martin and this, that and the other. So I'm just getting led down this garden path that this is the right way to go about things.
Anyway, because there's police involved.
Yeah.
Obviously Pollock's got a grasp for that.
Yeah.
So Terry's got rid of him. And whatever he said at his meeting, they're taking his word to it. That's why this is going to go into the press.
Yeah.
Because a number of councillors in there who don't know the story.
Yeah.
That's why it's we're going to get out there.
Yeah. Okay. So the main thing is, when do you think this fella will phone me? Today or tomorrow?
Well, I've just got a message back. I'm doing it through a source, right?
Yeah.
So he's mediating with them, right? So he's going to give them the information he requested. He wanted to know who was at the meeting. Yeah. So I'm saying that you were there with one of your one day flower, and Dow was there. The best speaker was Dow. Right. You wanted to know about the contracts.
Yeah.
Wanted to know when that Gordon's done.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But if it's okay to have your phone number, because you're done.
Yeah.
I've told say my name for the speech here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will you come and see?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and when and off he gets in touch.
I will do. Thanks a lot, mate. Thanks.
Okay.
Cheers, Phil.
Bye.
Bye now.
But still, it was my tape and it was meant to be my story that I've done all the work and you've agreed I've done the work and I'm on paying. That was my opinion of what was supposed to happen. And also, obviously, I had to speak to the reporter and different things were supposed to go on, which I asked on numerous occasions and nothing was forthcoming.
So no one would give you any contacts with
No, I had a message again off Phil. I've given him your number from the paper. He's going to call you just to check everything's all right and check the validity of the story in the tape and check that your story gets put forward and this, that and the other. And same with Alan Gemmel. Nothing coming in.
So when was it the first time you heard that the article was going out?
It was Mike Bill. All of a sudden, after so many weeks of not wanting to speak to me, sends me this message with a little smiley face and a little wink. I think you need to up with the papers tomorrow. Paid 7. And I remember I text that straight to Phil Saxton. Something looks like it's going to happen here. You just get so frustrated with everything. And I've got Phil Saxton saying, Dave, you can't keep phoning and you can't keep doing this. He's not going to answer. You've got to understand there's meetings going on. Mark's getting done. This is going on. That's going on. It takes time. I said, hold on a minute. It's an opening. I think I'd been told by someone in the council by this point that Mike can authorise payments. He can override something if there's special measures to prove it. So I'd gone back to Phil at this point. I'm saying, listen, Phil, this is bullshit. He can give contacts out and he can make a payment. He knows my circumstances. He knows how it's affected my life. he could make a payment and he's not making a payment. There's something not right here. And at that point, what it was is Phil started going on about the asbestos and trying to say that if I could prove that I'd done this, that, and that. I was like, I'll prove it. I'll give everything. Give everything. I said, dance with the photos, all the evidence is there. And he said, no, but there's just one more thing. He said, even if we got that, he's got no reason not to pay you the asbestos if you get the receipt. Now I got the receipt, found it, and threw evidence up in days to look for it. And I sent it over to Phil Saxton. And then he just sent me a message. I can't speak to you no more. It just kept, even when I was saying to Phil, listen, Phil, even you spoke to Mike, and you at one point, I thought he was helping, and then it just seems like when he's engaged with Mike, I did get a message off him once, or a phone call. I actually phoned him off a friend's phone because he'd blocked me. And that was the time when I was coming down with an email that I was going to send to all the councillors. And I said, listen, Phil, there's a few things going to happen today, but I want to know why you've blocked me after the initial contact. And his exact words were, Dave, I was fearful with my job from Mike in that, because when I engaged with them, I got pulled into a meeting and got told I was asking for too many FOIs to help you out, and if it didn't disengage, then there'd be issues between us. And that's what he said. And then it's obviously he's converted to working on the dark side in that kind of position, to be so disrespectful and so dismissive of bearing in mind that sat with Mike and had many meetings with him, and he knew my story, and he knew my story from when I wasn't getting paid, and he knew how it affected where has it worked for my wife, my family, my kids, my grandkids. He knew all that. So for me, it's disgraceful what he's done. And so at what point, Phil must have convinced him to get on the phone, but he brought a guy called Kevin Braver onto a phone call, which I've got a recording of. And affronted Mike on the call, saying, you've told me in every single meeting you can't give contracts, and I've got people telling me you can. So just once in your life, tell the truth. And he ends up saying, I did give St. Ninians out, but I give it to Regency. And I was like, okay, but you still lied. You've lied to me over even the fact that you can give direct awards out. You just basically admitted you can on the tape.
You obviously had Alan Gemmel, you were in contact. Did he keep in contact with him, or did he stop communication?
Alan Gemmel, after the newspaper article come out, he's blocked him as well.